here's the big question. How are entrepreneurs like us, who have been hustling and struggling to make it to success, who seem to make it one step forward only to fall two steps back, who are dedicated, determined, and driven? How do we finally break through and win? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brian Kelly, and this is the Mind, Body, Business Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind, Body, Business Show. We have another phenomenal show lined up for you tonight because the one, the only, the amazing Suzanne Gerber is in the house. Yes, she is here. She's actually right here in her own home, on with us virtually from just down the road from where I am sitting right now. We are in the lovely state of Florida. Suzanne is an amazing woman. I cannot wait for you to get to meet her. She is in the green room right now, scratching and clawing at the monitor saying, Brian, let me in. I'm ready. Let's go. In just a minute, Suzanne. We'll get to you in just a second. And in the meantime, the Mind Body Business Show, just to set up the table, let you know what this is all about. It is a show that I had created with you in mind, and that is the business person, the entrepreneur. No matter where you are in your entrepreneurial journey, if you're just starting out, maybe you don't even know what business to start up, or maybe you're already doing 6, 7, 8 figures. I found that no matter where you are in the spectrum, that the guests that I have on this show, like Suzanne, bring to the table things that everyone can learn something from and even put into and implement into their business and start seeing results instantly. How do I know that? I've been interviewing guests, amazing guests like Suzanne, for well over 5 years now. Only successful entrepreneurs from all over the world. And that is what I've learned is I have learned so much. I cannot tell you from each and every guest. And I personally have put many of their strategies in play for my own business and have seen great success. So you're in the right place. You're in an amazing place. And this cost you what? Zero. It's like having a free mastermind with 2 people that you can listen to every single week, going to a network seminar and learning without spending a dime, just spending your valuable time with us. And we appreciate you for coming on. And so what I learned in about 10 years of studying just successful people, I just dedicated and said, what is making these people that are more successful than me, well, more successful than me? What do they have, some magic potion or a wand? What is it about them that makes them more successful than I am at the time? And what I found in that time were 3 things, 3 common traits kept bubbling to the top. And you probably might have guessed what those 3 traits are related to. It's the very namesake of this show. So mind stands for mindset. And to a person, these very successful individuals had developed a very positive, a very powerful, and then the 3rd trait, which many people don't even think about, is a very flexible mindset. And then body literally means their body. They have taken care of themselves physically and nutritionally. That's simple. It's the mind and body. The mind and body are a team. More importantly, they are your team. One member of the team is not operating at peak level performance. Guess what? The team as a whole suffers. So successful people know this. And so they make sure that both of those quote unquote houses are in order. And then business is multifaceted. Business is so interesting because one must master various skill sets in order to build a thriving, successful business and then to be able to scale it even further. Skill sets like marketing, systematizing, sales, team building, leadership. I mean, there are many. And being astute, as all of you are who are watching and or listening, you recognize that to master any one skill set can take a long time. Like to become an expert at any one thing, they say it takes an average of 10,000 hours of focused effort. So it's similar to that. The good news is you don't have to master every single one of those skill sets, even the ones I just mentioned, all of them. You don't have to master every single one of them. If you were to focus on just one of them, you can leverage that one into the rest. Anybody want to know what that is to save a lot of time for you? Anybody? And yes, comments, likes, loves, those are all welcome. Please bring on. I won't make you wait for someone to respond because I always reveal the answer. That one skill set that I believe and I know that you should focus on mastering, if you haven't yet, is the skill set of leadership, even if you don't even currently have a team and you're a solopreneur. There are books written on the topic. I'm not going to go down that path unless we organically do that with Suzanne here. We're going to see where that goes. You're going to love this because you're going to love her. That's why you're going to love this. And another wonderful trait of highly successful people that I found to be true is that they are also very avid readers of books. And so with that, I want to segue very briefly into a little segment I affectionately call bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by reachyourpeaklibrary.com.
Yes, there you see it, reachyourpeaklibrary.com. One word of advice, and again, this is for you, not for me, not for Suzanne, for your own, so you get the most out of this show. And that is, while Suzanne comes on, when we're talking, when she's talking specifically, I implore upon you to really keep your focus on everything she is saying. And I say that because there are going to be resources mentioned during the show. There always are, just like you see on the screen now if you're watching. Reachyourpeaklibrary.com. One of the tendencies we as humans have is to go off and start researching that while the show is going on. Whether you're watching us live, maybe a recorded video, maybe you're listening to us on an audio podcast, that's the human tendency. What I would ask of you, for you, is that instead of running away and taking your attention away from Suzanne and now focusing on researching, is instead simply write the resources down on a piece of paper or a tablet or whatever you have handy, and then visit them after the show's over. And why do I say this? After speaking on stage for years, especially in the very beginning stage, there were times in the very beginning where I would be getting to that really good part, the juicy part. You're the presenter, you know where the good stuff's coming. And I would notice someone get up and walk out of the room staring at their phone, or they're crossing their legs because they need to go to the restroom. I thought, no, they're going to miss the best part. And so I learned to set the table, to set expectations, to say, look, the magic happens in the room. I know this isn't a physical room, it's a virtual room, but I know you know what I mean by that. And that means keep your focus on Suzanne. So if you need to use the restroom, now is the time to do that, especially if you're watching us live, and come back quick because she's coming on in just a few minutes. And then be sure to have pen and paper or something to take notes with so that you can then visit these resources later. That's my soapbox moment, but it is there for you to make the most out of this experience with us here tonight together. And Reach Your Peak Library, what is that? That is a resource, again, that I had put together with you in mind. I love helping people. I love helping entrepreneurs specifically. And I myself was not an avid reader until about, 12 years ago or so. At the age of 47 is when I began reading. Yeah, I know. I'm pausing on purpose so you can do the math. I know everybody wants to be curious and know that. I wear it on my sleeve. I will be 60 this coming August, just in case the math was difficult for anyone. And I wear it on my sleeve. I'm proud of it. I made it that far. This is great. You see a number of books scrolling on the screen if you're watching us live. And what those are books that I personally read and, more importantly, vet, meaning I got results from these books. They had a profound impact on me, either in my business life or my personal life, or even both. Often case it's the latter. And I started after having my team, look, here's another book, throw it on the site. I want these to be there for you so that you can make more efficient use of your time. And the odds of you picking a dud book and reading it are lessened when you can bring it forward from a library, from someone who has achieved success. That way you're optimizing your efficiency. I'm a big fan of efficiency. I'm very analytical. There's another word for that, but I won't say that live on this show. I really want to help you to get to that point of success faster than it would normally take by just trial and error. So that is your gift for me to you. If you get your books from, say, a physical bookstore, go through this list, find the book you like, go to that bookstore, and then definitely patronize them. Please do that. This site is not here to make money. These buy here buttons, they go straight to Amazon. If you want to get them on Amazon, that's where those will go. Get them wherever your favorite place is to get books. And if you haven't started reading, don't worry, it's never too late. I didn't start till 47, and my God, what an impact it's had on my life. Speaking of impact on lives, whoo, you are in for a treat, because the one, the only Suzanne Gerber is coming up right now.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there she is, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is the one, the only Suzanne Gerber. Woo, yes, welcome to the show, Suzanne. How are you doing today?
I am just overwhelmed by that very enthusiastic intro. Thank you so much, Brian.
You're very welcome. And you know how our moms always say you shouldn't point. That's why I do it, because I'm a rebel. Isn't that a common trait of entrepreneurship, would you say?
Well, I think there's a couple different kinds of entrepreneurs. And I think in our modern era with the digital revolution, I think being a disruptor and being revolutionary is very important. Doing things the same way that they've been done before isn't going to get you anywhere.
That's our show, ladies and gentlemen. You got the biggest tip you need, period. That's it. We're done. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Time to do our bow and go do high fives, and let's go meet somewhere in between our two towns. All right, so I'm going to introduce this lovely lady because she deserves to be introduced formally and officially. Would that be okay with you, Suzanne?
Please do.
All right. Suzanne Gerber is a classically trained modern astrological counselor with a rich tapestry, I love this language, of experience spanning journalism, education, and a profound spiritual journey into the mystical realms. Her passion for astrology ignited in her youth, evolving into a dedicated practice after a transformative education and a serendipitous encounter that led her to 3 years of intensive astrological study. Oh my gosh, you are a writer to the nth. I love this. Today, Suzanne combines her deep astrological knowledge with her skills as an educator and writer to empower individuals, helping them navigate life's challenges, discover their purpose, and align with their soul's destiny. This is all great stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Through her platform, starsandstoneshealing.com, Suzanne offers insights and guidance, proving that the wisdom of the stars can illuminate the path to personal and professional fulfillment. With that, I give you officially and formally the one, the truly only amazing Suzanne Gerber. Once again, welcome officially.
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you, Brian.
Powerful words in that opening, and I love. Wow, you have a great writing style. I just so align with it. Serendipitous. I mean, these words that are big that I actually understand. That's pretty cool. And the really powerful ones that jumped out as I'm reading it is discover and purpose, align. These are so important. I've learned it's interesting. So a lot of people will listen to what you have to say, and some might go, I don't know what this has to do with growing my business, because this is all just about mind stuff and weird stuff. And I don't know. It's like everything I just read is right down the middle, as we would say in baseball, Reich, because it has everything to do with business. And you'll find out if you stick with us to the end of this show. I guarantee you, you will learn something that's going to help you today. I can say that because it happens every show. I learned something every day. And this young lady has already taught me great stuff. She did, what do you call what you did right before the show where you told me about attributes of mind?
About yourself? Is that what
where you were saying that about being analytical and things like that?
You didn't give me fair warning, so I didn't get to prepare for your chart reading. I put about an hour into it before I even meet with people. But Brian, you have so much Virgo in your chart. Virgo is about service. Virgo is about helping people. And it's not fake helping people. It's what drives you. And your moon is in the other sign that's ruled by the same planet, which is wonderful, which means that it's sort of like the outer you and the inner you are very aligned. They're not like what you see is very different from what you get. It really is. But the thing is, and it sounds like you're giving me permission to say this to the audience, but I said this is so good for business and interviewing people and communication and pulling things out of people. And if there's one little asterisk, it's that you can get caught up in your head. And I said, because there's something else that I saw that's a little technical, the healing path. And I said, so when you start to feel smoke coming out of your ears, you've got to get into your heart. You've got to get into your intuition. Stop trying to problem solve your way through something and turn inward. And, you could go, well, isn't that true for everybody? Not like it is for you.
And I appreciate you for redoing that. That was fantastic. And I'm glad you did it. Again, I wasn't actually asking you to do that, but I'm glad you did, because people got to experience exactly how you went about this. And I was listening going, yep, 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 that's me. And, that's not everybody. So I'm like, wow, there's some truth to this whole, what people outside call hocus pocus. And that's one thing I've learned over time, Suzanne. I was very traditional and very straight and narrow and down the path. And anything that came outside of what I had learned up to that point was woo-woo, was mystical, was crazy, was untrue, was not right, was everything. And I've learned over the years to be more open to learning about it before I make a decision over it. And just with you, before we even came on the show, I know very little about astrology. I know very little about it. And I thought, well, what a great opportunity to learn. And then you went off and did that. I'm like, okay, I'm listening. This is good. I like it. And you're absolutely right. I get in this analytical whole wave. And as I said before we came on the show, I'm better at that. I'm always working on things, so we can always improve. Do you believe that's true, that there's always room for improvement for everyone on this planet, or have some actually reached that point where they just can't improve anymore?
So I love this quote from the British poet Robert Browning. He was married to Elizabeth Barrett Browning. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. You might be familiar with these two. And Robert Browning had the most wonderful line. He said that man's reach must exceed its grasp, or what's a heaven for?
Ooh, I
Right?
love that.
We've got to be able to touch something, but not fully be able to grasp it or embody it. Or what's the point? So I think we can all improve, and some of us more than others.
Certainly. I totally agree. And that's what I feel so blessed to be in a life where it is like that. Because what if, Suzanne, you got to that point and what if there was that point where that's the end, Suzanne? You have reached the point you can no longer improve or grow or really change in any way, because you've reached it. You are at that point, but you still have, say, 20, 30, 40 years to live. How would that feel if you thought you got to that point where you can't grow any farther at that moment?
I can't even fathom it.
Exactly.
I have always been on a mission to improve. If anything, I think a lot of people, and probably a lot of people in your audience, Brian, it's like, slow down, calm down, acknowledge how far you've come. You got
Yes.
another 20, 40, 50 years to get to that pinnacle, and enjoy the ride.
Oh, wow. So this is wisdom beyond, oh my God, acknowledge how far you've come. That's what I heard out of that. And, I'm a former personal trainer, certified personal trainer, and I would have clients say, okay, just give me 10 push-ups. I wouldn't be that quick with it, right? But give them a little heads up on how to do it, all that stuff. And I'd see some, they'd do 4 or 5 and they'd get up and they're just bowing their head down. I said, what's going on? They're like, well, you told me to do 10. I only did 5. I'm like, okay. And well, I failed. I said, what do you mean you failed? I said, did you try? Did you put in as many as you possibly could until you absolutely couldn't do anymore? Yeah. Then, okay, you're kicking yourself in the butt right now. I want you to do something right now. I want you to hold your hand up high, turn your palm backward, reach back behind yourself, and pat yourself on the back. Instead of kicking yourself in the butt for the reps you didn't do, pat yourself on the back for the reps you did do. Because guess what? You did that. And a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, you will be doing 10 push-ups because you tried, and that's the way you are wired. So don't we often kick ourselves in the butt too much, Suzanne, if we're left to our own devices and don't have outside, say, coaching or guidance from someone maybe in astrology or something like that, like Suzanne Gerber? What do you think?
Well, of course, we not only does that contribute to a failure kind of mindset,
Yes.
but it blocks out the opportunity. And this is the gift of the acknowledging. This is how we reinforce things in our brain. Our brains are computers. We need to keep reinforcing the positive, not the negative. We don't learn that when we're young. We don't even learn that when we're adults, unless we get some really good coaching, right? We build, we do something, we build, we acknowledge it, we reinforce it. That shows us, I can do this. And if I can do that, then I could probably get the next goal. So it really is how we're training. You were a personal trainer, physical, but all good trainers that I know, whatever the discipline is, they know that they're all mind-body pursuits. The body and the mind, you can't work with them separately. In fact, a lot of medical professionals have come around to calling this the mind-body.
Yes. Yeah, it's very common. And I'm going to take your lead on this, saying, we should acknowledge what we've achieved, because that's something that also many of us resist. It's like, well, I don't want to look like a show off, or I don't want to draw attention to myself. I'm going to do it now because I just released a brand new book. And this literally, I know it doesn't look massive. It's just under 200 pages. It's an easy read, quick read, a deep read though. And it took me from the point of inception, I think is the right word, over 10 years to finish this thing. And it just came out a couple weeks ago. It's Mind Body Business is the name of the book. So you can go to mindbodybusinessbook.com and get a copy there. Selling right now for 99 cents for a limited time on Kindle, and would love your reviews for this. I'm just over the moon excited and proud to finally finish it. That was one of the other things, Suzanne, was like, how many times do we procrastinate? How many times do we put off? That was one of those things for me. I would always build something, build it, get really close to the end, and then self-sabotage. What the heck is that all about? And what can people do? Have you ever done that? Or do you know other people who have done that?
I'm human, therefore I have done that. But I can tell you what it is in your chart.
Ooh, let's do it. On the job training. I love it.
Well, the most important thing to understand is that the charts don't make us do anything. They're like an MRI. The MRI didn't cause our shoulder to do that thing, or our knee. It's just a mirror. It's just a way to see behind the curtain. That's what I love about it. In fact, I'm moving away from saying I'm an astrologer, because everybody's an astrologer these days. But I am a counselor. I am a coach who has a really good cheat sheet. I have your psychic MRI here. And after 40 years of working with these psychic MRIs, I've really gotten pretty good at understanding human beings, and also being humble about what I don't know. I don't know how you experience this chart. I know what it suggests to me. But there's a part of you that gets so excited about all these things you want to do. A little ADD. Right? It's like, well, I want to do that, and I want to do that. Oh, wait, that, and then squirrel, and then all these things you want to do, and they're wonderful. And the best part with you is it's all done in service of other people. So how could that ever be bad? We're not saying it's bad. We don't judge. But what we're saying is this getting you where you want? Does this support you accomplishing your goals? That's the only criterion to look at. Is this useful? And then we look at strategies to either do more of it or do less of it or change it. And in your case, there is something, the planet Saturn, which is the ruler of time, and the thing that makes you feel like, oh, I have to do other things, and it can hold you back in certain ways. It's in a direct relationship with that Virgo moon of yours. And so for you, if we were working together, we would look at ways for you to get Saturn to be your best coach and support, and not be something that makes you feel like, I couldn't do all the push-ups. I'll never get this book written. It'll never be a bestseller, and so on. And just get out of your own way and accomplish your own dream.
And that, I mean, in a nutshell, not to minimize at all that incredible analysis, is that get out of your own way is what it comes down to. And I know I'm not alone in this. I have so many friends, and we all go through that. We call it shiny object syndrome in a simple form, right? Where And me, oh my God, being a tech person, a geek, and all the wonderful things that are coming out these days, it's difficult sometimes to keep those at bay. Like, ooh, that's neat. If I went down that path, that's a month right there. I know it. So I better keep that one at bay. It's difficult. How many times have we ever said out loud or wished inwardly, how is there a way to clone myself? Because I need to do that right now.
Well, you have to promise me that when you find that way, you're going to let me know,
Oh.
because that has been my mantra for so long.
Yeah. And then, I wonder if we were able to clone ourselves, would we still self-sabotage? Would we still, because it's us again, doing the same thing, now just twice as many of them. So
It could go that way. It could be twice as much distraction. Or if one of us, let's say the original, is the leader, gets to be the chief, then you assign the other you, the clone, different things to do so that you can use all your gifts and strength, but you divide. And I don't know if conquer is the word I'm looking for, or just win.
Yes, leadership. So in case it wasn't obvious, that was a phenomenal leadership strategy and tip right there, everyone who's listening. By the way, if you're listening on audio podcast, I invite you to join us live. We come on live every week, Thursday at 5:30 Eastern, every single week. Sometimes on Tuesdays, we have a special edition, and you can get on a list to be notified the moment we go live. So you don't have to remember it. And then all you have to do is when you get that email, is click the link and you'll be here with us instantly live, engaging with us. And with that, yeah, come out, reach out, say hi, tell us where you're coming from. If you have a question for Suzanne, then bring that up as well. And also, for those of you that stay with us to the end that are watching live, you must be watching live. You see it right there beneath us. If you stay until the end, you will have the opportunity to enter to win a 5-night stay. Yep, there's 5 at a 5-star luxury resort of your choosing. There are many to choose from worldwide. Compliments of Reach Your Peak. And I'll be giving away how to enter to win at the end of the show, near the end of the show. And you must be watching live, so we know when the entries come in. We can figure out who's trying to buck the system. We know who you are, but there aren't that many that do that. And so I can't wait to see who wins that. And please know, this is a phenomenal price. This is not where you show up, they whisk you down to the basement, tie you up in a chair, water drip torture you, and try to sell you on a timeshare. No. None of that happens. In fact, the basement, they probably don't have a basement. They will take you and greet you as if you are a full paying customer. They don't even know the difference. So it's an amazing, amazing gift. I have a friend who's utilized this price twice and reported back incredible, wonderful, glowing reports of it. So you definitely want to stick around for that. And even more valuable than that, Suzanne Gerber herself is giving everyone an unbelievable gift. And you have to stay to the end just to know what that one is. I'm going to tease you even more. I know, I love to tease. It's fun. So back to the woman of the hour, Miss or Mrs. Suzanne Gerber. I'm sorry, I didn't.
Ms. works.
Ms. Okay. And you can see there, she's owner of Stars and Stones Healing. And we kind of have an idea what she does. She is a counselor and a coach. She just happens to use astrology to be her shortcut to basically, I love that term, a psychic MRI. That's pretty cool. It's just a reflection of what the readings are, not what it's going to make you into. And that really calms an individual, doesn't it, Suzanne? Like maybe they're thinking, what is going to happen here? Is it like, are you going to make me bark like a chicken? Like I'm going to be on stage on a hypnosis show or something? Or what's going to happen to me because you're working with me and reading my stuff? But when you said that, in me, because I don't know much about this science at all, I had a bit of a calming effect. I'm like, wow, that was an interesting response that I had. And so I thought that's a good thing to bring out to let people know that, look, she's just reading what the machine gave her back, a picture of you, and she knows how to interpret that picture. Is that a good way to say it so that people can understand it?
And it's all in the interpretation. And that's why I say what's important isn't the astrology per se. It's the astrologer. Are you going to somebody who can listen to you? Are you going to someone who can respect your vision, your values? You don't have to be aligned with religion or philosophy or worldview. It's just somebody who's really there for you. And I work with a lot of people in relationships. I work with a lot of people on a personal development, spiritual development, finding their purpose. That's such a big thing in the last maybe 5 years. People always came for work and love, of course, relationships, of course, and they still do. But now people want to understand their purpose. And this dovetails perfectly for entrepreneurs, because there are entrepreneurs, maybe they go into the family business, or they do something because they think, no, this is a good niche for now, or they do it for the shoulds, and it doesn't align with their personal why. And so what we do when we look at the chart is we get a sense of what makes sense. I don't try to fit people into pegs. I don't try to get them to align with my vision for them. We explore it together. And I'm not a business coach per se. I'm not going to teach you how to write your quarterly goals and how to, figure out the right CRM for yourself. And I understand all that stuff. I speak business. But I'm much more interested in who is the entrepreneur? What is it that makes you tick? What is your why? What is it that you want to do? What do you want to be remembered for? And then reverse engineer it backward. How do you turn that into a business? How do you make that business successful? If you have issues around team building or getting along with other people or selling or doing the grunt work of the details and the data analysis, then we figure out strategies so that you don't saddle yourself with things that aren't your strong suits. So it's coaching, but it's so much more, because it's really about understanding yourself. And to me, understanding is the first step. Then we get into the accepting. And then with work, we really come into the embracing it and really saying, no, this is me. You might not like it. You may not resonate with it, but get out of my way, because here I am.
Ooh, baby, there's our show part 2. That's it. It's over. Incredible. Everything. I mean, I think I've got a cramp in my neck from nodding so hard. That was, that is it. Ladies and gentlemen, she just gave you the recipe for success. If you have not yet found your why, if there's any part of you wondering if you're in alignment with what you're doing right now, that probably means you're not. And that's okay. It's a journey. I remember, Suzanne, I went through so many iterations. Like you said, I will do the thing that feels right now. And I did that. And that was a certified personal trainer was my last gig. I loved it. But at the same time, that was something telling me, maybe not the actual thing you want to do. And I had 3 people at 3 different times during one span of 1 month, basically tell me the same thing in different ways. And they said, when you talk about fitness, I don't feel the passion. When you talk about automation, then you get excited. I feel it. And my wife even said at one point, she goes, anytime you embark on something brand new, you just go in and you automate the bejeebers out of it. I'm like, God, she's right. And I do. I truly love it. I'm good at it. Just doing it for a long time. I'm a software engineer by trade, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, wow. So now I am at a point. I went through everything you were talking about, Suzanne, and I have that. I feel I've got the understanding. I've accepted that's what it is. And I'm like you say, no, if that's not your bailiwick, I don't care. It's mine. So get out of my way. And not in a mean way, but in a professional way. But yeah. And when you have that, I know this from now reaching that point, look out. Katie bar the door. The resistance is gone. The hesitation, the reasoning, the excuses, not finishing things. Look, I finished this after I reached that point. I finished it. It was a big opening. So if you are anywhere where Suzanne just described, maybe you do have an understanding, but not an accepting, get in touch with her. And we're going to tell you how to do that here today. And find out how you can get there. I am telling you right now, please do this for yourself. Please, because you will save yourself an immense amount of time, aggravation, money, maybe even relationships. It is that important to get this right as soon as humanly possible. Well, Brian, I don't want to change my business. I know it's kind of a weird thing. It might be frightening. For me, once I found it, Suzanne, I got to tell you, I had lots of videos for workouts. I did live video workouts. I also had recorded workouts. I trashed the entire website. I deleted it. Within 2 days of making the decision, it was 100% gone. after all these years of building it up. And you know how I felt? Liberated. I didn't feel 1 ounce of, oh crap. And that's how I knew it was the right thing. So anyway, I just want to share that to help really solidify what you just said, Suzanne. You said it much more succinctly, much better than I did. But I want to give an example of what you could experience if you were to reach out to this amazing young woman. There, I said it.
I love what you just said, Brian. And what I would add to it is, of course, this show is mind, body, business, but we're not, even people like you and myself, even we don't actually work 16 hours a day. We have lives, we have partners, we have families, we have interests. And part of what I think being a successful entrepreneur gives you, besides the obvious things that most people would probably say are their motivation: freedom, money, opportunities to build their own brand. I mean, these are the obvious. But the things that I think people don't necessarily think of and yet are crucial are when you're doing what you love, you're a happier person. That means you're going to get along better with other people. That means you're not going to get as stressed out. That means your health is going to be better. You're going to sleep better. And you're going to appreciate your free time even more, and you're not going to waste it. So they really feed each other. Being a mindful, healthy person makes you a better entrepreneur. Being a better entrepreneur can feed those things too.
It permeates every aspect of your life. Just every aspect. That's all. It's so true. And isn't that really where it all lies with us as humans? It's not the business and the building a successful business that is our goal. It's the joy of life and happiness that it can be a part of in creating for us in our lives.
Yeah, and I think it's an easy trap, especially in our country and Western societies. We're very focused on, we meet people. I mean, this is such a cliche, but you meet somebody new, and what's usually one of the first questions you ask: what do you do?
Yep.
Most people don't mean, what are your hobbies? They mean, how do you make money? And it makes sense. We all understand that. We're not going to not make money, but it's not the only and the most overriding thing. And we forget that. We lose sight of the fact that we're very full individuals, and pursuing a business, especially as an entrepreneur, is just a very joyful journey. I mean, my whole life changed when I stopped thinking of myself as a freelancer and I started thinking of myself as an entrepreneur. It's not a hobby, it's a business. And it's a very empowering shift because you start to take it more seriously. And I know a question that you often ask guests is, and I kind of just lost my my own train of thought there, but the difference between being an entrepreneur and working for someone else, even if you're in a upper management level position, I think of it as the difference between renting a home and owning a home. Mm. When you rent a home, no matter what you put into it, improvements and beautifying, it's not yours. You don't have any equity in it. But when it's your business, every single thing that you do comes back to you. It's the ultimate equity. And the other thing is, to me, and I think so many people that have worked in corporate or just companies, we sometimes bump up against moral or ethical issues that we sweep under the table. Oh, it's no big deal. It doesn't really reflect back to me, but it does. And if we're not part of the solution, we really are part of the problem. When we're running the show, hopefully, I would assume a lot of your audience doesn't do that. We want to be high-minded. We want to operate in our integrity, and we will never be asked to compromise.
Oh my goodness. This is awesome stuff. I had no idea we were going to be in for such a glorious ride, Suzanne. This is so much fun. And another thing about corporate life, and I love how you said that comparing the metaphor with renting versus buying a home. And another thing that held true, because this happened to me personally, is that when you're an entrepreneur, You are controlling either the success or the non-success of that. It is your responsibility. You are the owner. You are the leader. I don't care who you hired, and if they screwed something up, it's on you. It's your responsibility when the rubber meets the road. The thing with and that means both success and failure, or non-success. When in corporate life, you have no control over the failure side of it either. So you could build up that corporation by doing all these great fancy things. And again, like you so astutely said, you have no equity in that. That's the corporation. They own that. At the same time, they could say, you know what? We're pulling the plug. You're all gone. You're let go immediately. Happened to me twice. And so you're not in control. At least as an entrepreneur, you're going to see if it's coming for a while, usually. And at least, though, the only one that you can point a finger at is yourself. And that's a wonderful thing as well. You are at cause. You are the one responsible for your success or your failure. That drives you even more. It gives you even more gratification when you do succeed. And so, yeah, and not everybody was wired to be an entrepreneur. Let's be very honest and frank about that. That at least I think that there are so few percentage-wise in the world. I think there's a reason for that. And God bless everyone who enjoys working, a traditional job and getting the check every 2 or 1 week or however often it is. That's great. Without you, the world wouldn't go around either. But entrepreneurs, I think, are cut from a different cloth. Not to say we're better or worse than anyone else. I'm not trying to make judgment, but it's just different for sure.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And that's something else that working with our charts can really help us see. I think a lot of people, especially now, have let's just say a fantasy, a dream of having their own business. But their need for security, for a regular paycheck, for benefits, there's nothing wrong with that. We don't judge because there's nothing to judge. There's just different options for us. So what's important is knowing who you are and what your needs are at any given time of your life, which evolve. When we're raising children, say, well, we have a responsibility to them, hopefully, as good parents. We feel that responsibility. This is why it took me a while to just really just go out there and only be an astrologer. That's not something with, necessarily a lot of job security. If I'm not working, there's no salary coming in. It teaches us, so we love the freedom. What's the flip side of freedom? Responsibility. You don't just get to do whatever you want. You are responsible for every one of your choices. And I think it's such a great maturing process to realize there's no blame. You don't say, she didn't follow up. He didn't do the thing I said. Like you were saying, Brian, it's all on you as an entrepreneur. But and especially after you've made some mistakes, very important to make mistakes, very important to acknowledge them as the fertilizer for your future success. Not to say I screwed up, but okay, how am I going to learn? How will this help me be smarter, better the next time? So to understand whether or not you're actually have that entrepreneurial spirit and that courage to go out into the unknown with no safety net, because there really isn't a safety net, is a pretty unique spirit.
Agree. I've never heard that. That was, is that making mistakes is the fertilizer for your future success. Oh man, that is I've never heard that before. That is so on point. If you think of fertilizer as being a certain kind of fertilizer.
Yes, exactly. You might have heard a different word.
I love that. That's a great, because it is. It's like mistakes. People think, oh, I don't want to make mistakes. None of us do. Human beings don't like to be proven wrong, ever. Male, female, no matter what your ego level is, it's born in us. And the cool thing with being an entrepreneur, once you learn it deeply and integrate it, is not only is it okay to make mistakes, it's actually looked upon as a good thing to do it as often as you possibly can, especially in the beginning, because, well, not just make them, but learn from them, of course, and learn from them. The faster you will learn what not to do. And that will get you to your success faster, because I was the ultimate perfectionist. Oh my God. Oh my God. I had to have every I dotted and every T crossed before I would take that next step and pick up the phone and call somebody for a sale. Like, oh, I had to have everything in place because I didn't want that mistake to happen. I didn't want the rejection. And then I learned through mentorship, coaching, like going to someone like Suzanne, where, you know, you say you may not be a business coach, but listening to you, oh my God, you have the acumen. You easily, yes, you are also a business coach in my eyes. And I think that's another incredible gift and quality you have to bring to the table, Suzanne, for those that may want some coaching that will help them. Here's the thing, everybody, no matter what level you need help in, if you go to Suzanne, it will help you in your business. Even if she says she's not a business coach and she's not coaching you per se on business, guess what? She's still coaching you on your business. She's coaching you on your life, which business is a part of. And so, oh, this is fun. I'm having so much fun, Suzanne. I hope you're having some kind of fun. I got goosebumps under my jacket. I'm not kidding you. This is good stuff.
The perfectionism goes with being such a strong Virgo, Brian. It sounds so good, you know, like that classic interview. What's the right question to ask when the interviewer asks you what's your greatest flaw? I'm a perfectionist. Hell no, that is not a positive trait. It will prevent you from taking action. It will block you. It will make you second guess yourself. You won't take the action. In this day and age, it's really about acting quickly. We all make mistakes. It's how we recover from them and what we learn.
I'm taking notes. So I was telling people they should take notes. So look, everyone, just so you know, I've got writer's cramp. This is good stuff. I'm the, you know, producer, director, and she's the star. I'm the co-star, and doing it all and writing notes, because that's how you learn, is you commit it to paper, and it's also how you become an effective host, because you can look back in case you forgot what they said earlier. Just being truthful. The other thing with entrepreneurship is, you know, we tend to be, you know, I hear this a lot, that entrepreneurs are willing to take risks, and people leave it at that. Like, it's not just willy-nilly risks. They are calculated. They are well thought through for most of us, because we know there are implications if it doesn't work. That is time we spent. That is money we spent. And the good part of it is, whatever the risk is that we're taking, we're making those mistakes that we're learning from to grow from. So there's always a positive that comes out of it. But that risk thing, and I know you didn't say anything about that, Suzanne, the thought came to my mind that, you know, that's what sets another attribute that sets entrepreneurs apart, is that we're more willing to take those risks, which is true. It's just, what does that really mean? Right. I mean, do you have a different way of quantifying that? What a risk would be?
Not really quantifying, but I have a different way of evaluating it, which of course is going to come back to astrology, that there's certain personality types that are very courageous and brave, and some actually go so far as to be impulsive and a little foolhardy. And then there's others that are totally risk averse, and they're like, I'm not doing that with my money. Right. And until you start to learn how to leverage money and how to not make it feel like it's coming out of your own pocket, and you've got to reach a certain level of success to play in bigger markets. But when we're playing small, we will never get to that higher ground. So it is about learning how to work with our own natural risk nature, and keeping it, and it always comes down to this, no matter what we're talking about, keeping things in balance. We're not going to be in balance 24/7. We have to get a little out of balance sometimes for forward progress, but then we want to bring it back. We don't always want to be taking risk. There are times that we want to come back, evaluate, see how it worked, assess the success of it, and then either continue it or change course. So it's getting out of balance to come back into balance. You have to be in balance to make strong decisions.
Where have you been all my life? This has been awesome stuff.
Just down the highway, just down
Exactly.
75.
That's awesome. So I want to, Mike, I just looked at the clock. This is a perfect indication of how much fun I've been having. I had no idea we were this far into the show. Holy smokes. I wanted to give you a moment to showcase your business in a more focused light. And that is, and you've kind of already skirted across it a little bit, but if you're okay with it, maybe encapsulate is it a triad? I don't care. Three questions. One is, or three topics. One is what is your desired target market, your client, your avatar? Doesn't mean you exclude others, but what is the one you focus on? And then what are the range of services you provide for these individuals that are your target? And then if you have a success story or two that you could share with us regarding a client of yours that just pops to the front of your mind, we would love to hear that too. And as you do that, I'll bring up your website so people can write it down, not go there, and listen to all those three questions. And if you forget one of them, just remind me and I'll try to remember myself what they were. If that's cool, I'll bring that up. Go ahead and take it away.
Absolutely. Life in business changes so fast that even just a few years ago, Brian, I would have said my avatar is a woman between about 39 and 50. And now I would say it has nothing to do with gender and it has nothing to do with age at all. It has to do with a person who is motivated to learn more about their life and understands how astrology can be an incredible auxiliary tool for self-understanding and growth, and wants to take action and responsibility for their lives. So that's the avatar. I've worked with teenagers. I recently worked with a woman who just turned 93. There is no specific time or age. My teacher taught me many, many years ago that you will get clients when certain planets are in certain parts of the sky, because it will be stirring things up. And that is still true. So you're always prepared for that. That's a little technical to explain. But no, I get people of all ages at all times, at stages of their life. And I just want people who also are ready to listen and engage in dialogue around it. Your second question, the third was success story. Your second question was, I might need a reminder.
That's okay. What kind of services do you provide? What kind of solutions?
I do everything from one-time readings, which are very in-depth. I spend about an hour on the chart. We spend about an hour and a half together on a Zoom call like this. I record it. I send it to people. They usually do follow-ups, and that's great. And not everybody has a budget for this, or they're not ready. But my preference is to work with people on a more continuing basis. I sell packages, I sell coaching, 10 sessions at a pop. I do classes and workshops online. I host an annual global summit that gets somewhere between 5, 6, and 10,000 people this year, and it's coming up next week. We've already got people from 99 countries signed up. So that's something that I love to do, and it's totally free, like this show. And then in the fall, I'm going to be starting a mentorship program. It's probably more suited for people with some astrology knowledge, but I may also be starting a mentorship program for beginners. I do better with people that have some knowledge, because if you're brand new, I'd rather teach you than take you in a group program where it may not be fair to the whole group, because, there's always going to be people that are a little more ahead and a little more behind. Right. But basically, I will tailor readings and programs to what the individual needs and desires.
I love it. And a success story or two?
So many, because there's so many ways to define success. I think of this one woman that I've worked with many times, and if she's listening, hello, you know who you are. She's a brilliant, beautiful, recently divorced, now so single mom of boys that are just at the, be able to live on their own. And she didn't think she could go back. She was doing a job that was fulfilling financially, but not in her soul. And we talked about what she might want to do. And she said, I just have this crazy fantasy of doing, some kind of service work. And we kicked things around, and she found herself a master's of public health program, and she didn't think she had what it took. And we talked about it. I coached her on it. We saw things in the chart. We talked about previous successes. She, I would see her maybe every 6 months. And after 6 months, she goes, I'm going to apply. I'm going to apply to Johns Hopkins, one of the premier institutions in the US. She says, but I won't get in.
Ooh.
And we coached around that. And then 6 months later, she tells me she was admitted and she's in there. And she's just graduated with honors, with this beautiful degree, and a whole new chapter of her life is beginning. And she didn't think she had it in her. So I'm there not just to, in that kind of naive way, say, you could do it, because that's meaningless. We looked at how and why. And I supported her in doing that. I think of another woman, lovely woman, very bright, hardworking, overworked. And she had some things in her personal life, her childhood, that didn't give her a lot of self-confidence. And she would date men, and they weren't always in the same town, and they were not real relationships. And I could see it, but there's only so much you can say. You meet the person where they are. And I coached her around her value and how she was selling herself short and what she was losing out on by continuing this. And and in the beginning, I thought that maybe she felt I was being harsh on her or something, but she keeps coming back. She's a wonderful human being. And she said, you're the only one who tells me the truth. Kindly, I mean, with a lot of support. It's not hard to be compassionate for people who are so wonderful. And she's changed it. And she had a situation very recently, and she goes, and I realized it was going to be more of the same. And I heard your words, and I just didn't pursue it. Oof. I wish I could say she's, in a happily ever relationship right now. For all I know, she might be right now, but I know she's going to get there because she has changed who she is, which changes the vibration she puts out into the world. How's that for a little woo-woo, Brian? The vibration she puts out into the world, because that's the only thing we can attract back to ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, she has now more confidence, which is very appealing to every human being on the planet because of your working with her. And I can't imagine how much you must take joy in having that part in these lives and improving them, even if they're not at that final goal yet, but obviously well on their way, if not already there. And that's, the most we can do is plant the seeds, but, and then go back and say, are you there? And kick them to the next, not kick them, but gently nudge them and help them, draw them with you to the finish line, to what they want the results for. And so for people that are listening, I want to be very sure to call this out. Her, Suzanne's website is starsandstoneshealing.com. Starsandstoneshealing.com. So it's AND for and, starsandstoneshealing.com. And as I mentioned earlier on the show, a little birdie named Suzanne told me that she also has a gift to give to you, as do I, as you know, and that is a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort. And we're going to give those away. And then I'm going to close the show. I know we're going to go a little bit over time. I hope everybody's okay with that. We're going to close out the show with this one profound, deep, amazing question. You don't want to miss it. Oh, my goodness. I'm telling you. Before we get to that, Suzanne, ladies first. So you have a gift you'd like to give away, and I want to put it on the screen and let you describe it and let people know what they need to do to take action on this wonderful, amazing gift.
I am offering an opportunity to book a complimentary call with me, no obligation, 30-minute call. Go to Ask Suzanne. I think Brian has said my name enough that you'll remember it's Suzanne with a Z. AskSuzanne.com. It'll take you right to my calendar, and you can book this complimentary call, and we can talk about where you feel stuck or what your questions or concerns are, whether astrology or the way I work. I always work with astrology, but it isn't all. Sometimes I'll say to people, forget your chart. Let's just talk. Because people get too caught up in the my Jupiter and my Saturn, and how about just, your partnership and your business? So asksuzanne.com, and you can book a complimentary call, and we can see if and how astrology can support you with your goals.
I love it. And so it is asksuzanne.com, and it's SUZANNE. There's that part of it too that some people can mess up, like yours truly. That's why I bring it up. Visit asksuzanne.com. And so this is a complimentary call, and it's 30 minutes in length. And I just want to point out really quickly that please treat this with the utmost in professionalism and respect, because I know Suzanne can and probably does charge a lot of money for her time, and it's well deserved. She spent many years, decades in this field. She read me like to a T. I was going to say like tea leaves almost. That was weird. She read me like a tea, and it's pretty neat. And you'll be astounded if you're thinking, nah, this ain't going to work. You're going to go, wow. If you're like, oh, this could work, you're going to go, yep, that's right. That's right down the path. And then she has all this background of experience, and having dealt with so many clients already. You just heard 2 great stories about it. You can rest assured Suzanne's got your interest at heart. Listen to her, look at her. I mean, there's no way that this woman has any ill will wanted toward you at all. She wants the opposite. That's why she's an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs love serving others. And I love entrepreneurs like Suzanne, and I appreciate you for coming on the show. We're not done yet. Don't go anywhere. I know they're thinking, oh, we're closing it out. Not quite yet. I have not forgotten that you can win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort at compliments of Reach Your Peak. And I'm going to bring it up right now, talking faster because we're near the end. And so what I'm going to do is bring it up on the screen and just write it down, enter to win after we close out the show, because again, you do not want to miss Suzanne's answer to this final heavy-hitting yet wonderful, unbelievable question. And she's like, oh no, man, the build-up already. So here it is. I'll put it up on the screen and write this down. What you want to do to enter to win is go to the following website. Just write this down. It's ryp.im/vacation, all lowercase. RYP stands for Reach Your Peak. .im/vacation, all lowercase. Write that down. Don't go there yet. See, we'll even know if you entered to win too soon and you weren't following directions, but you'll do what you do. That's all right. So we're going to come back to Suzanne for the final amazing, incredible, powerful question. And the cool thing about this question, Suzanne, is there is no such thing as a wrong answer. It's not a quiz. It's not a test. The exact opposite is the case, is that the only correct answer will be yours. And I do want to also preface it and let you know that if your answer goes beyond a sentence or 2, that's actually a good thing. Only if it matches and it feels right, because I am going to be creating a compilation book with all of my past guest answers in that book. And the title of the book will be the question itself. So it's pretty cool. So a 2-word answer won't fill up much of a page. Just saying. So the other thing is, if it takes you a microsecond to have the answer, it comes up immediately. That's perfect. If it takes you many seconds, that's perfect as well. No pressure whatsoever. With all that wonderful build-up, Suzanne, are you ready?
I don't know. Yes, of course I am.
Of course you are. All right, here we go. Suzanne Gerber, how do you define success?
Well, I think how I define success is totally different from how other people might define success. I think success is very personal. I think definition of success comes out of what your goals are, what your vision is, what it is that you want. I was trained as a teacher. We learned how to write objectives. Write your objectives. What are your goals? Then do everything you can to accomplish them. When you reach those goals, and now this is the most important part, and you feel happy, and you feel satisfied, and you feel proud, especially if you've helped other people or touched others' lives in a positive way. Not because there are people that can reach pinnacles, and other people could say, you're so successful, you're the most successful this or that. But if they don't feel happy. If they don't feel like something meaningful has happened, then I don't think they're successful. I think it's that feeling of satisfaction and pride in what you've done.
You gotta love that, don't you, ladies and gentlemen? That is amazing. And here's a really cool factoid, if you will, about this, Suzanne. I've been doing this for quite a while, probably 4 years or so now, ending every show with that question. I didn't do it from the very beginning. No two people yet have answered it the same exact way. And you're no different. And your definition of success, and I love it. Everyone's is different and unique to them. And they're all right. Every single one of them is correct because it's your definition. And in that one, I resonated with that. And everything you said, I started thinking, what makes me happy, satisfied, and proud? Well, my most recent success would be finishing the book. I have mine that matched exactly your description. And I thought, wow, I've never had something where I would think, what would I say would match the guest description of success? You're the first time that's ever happened to me. So appreciate that. That was in total alignment. I think we were separated at birth. What do you think?
Well, my moon is in Virgo, which is where you have so many planets. So there really is this shared need. It's really not just a desire. It's something we don't really have a choice. It's the sacred service. And I think that's what you're talking about, Brian.
Yeah. I got to share with you one quick thing is that when I was a boy and I learned I was a Virgo, I was pissed off. Like, I'm not a woman. What are you talking about? I'm a guy. And, I was like mad. It's okay. I get it. It's a symbol, but it's still, I was like, that was not right. That's not fair.
Yeah. It's a misunderstood sign because people think of it as being perfectionistic and critical, but that's only because Virgo sees how things can be. It's such a beautiful vision. And they're relentless because they're not going to settle for second best.
Yeah, they're so daggone true. All of it. That's awesome. Pretty neat stuff. And I mean, awesome stuff. Not just neat, but that was a weird word from the past. I appreciate you, Suzanne. I appreciate what you do. I love that you are serving people, helping them to get past where they are today so that they can, become understanding of where they're at and accept it and then move on from there and just say, get out of my way because I'm going to go make things happen. And that is large part due to this amazing woman who is helping amazing people like you. And I hope you all reach out to her. Do not forget, AskSuzanne.com, AskSuzanne.com. I did that from memory. That's pretty good. And don't forget ryp.im/vacation after we sign off, which is going to be right about now. But before we go, I just want to ask of everyone watching and listening, please do two things. Number one, continue to strive to crush it in your business. Why? Because then you can serve and help more people. And number two, above all else, to a person, please, everyone, be blessed. That is it for us. Take care, everyone. We'll see you again next time. Thank you, Suzanne Gerber. So long, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Body Business Show podcast at www.themindbodybusinessshow.com. My name is Brian Kelly.